What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Jai, and I'm back. Y'all know I've been in California getting to this money. My project is officially come to an end, so now I'm back. I'm better, and this time I won't leave. So, with that being said, welcome back to Trending Worldwide, and today we're zooming out. We're zooming all the way out. The world is shifting under our own 2 feet. And if you blink too long, you miss the plot twist. So let's slow it down. Let's breathe and let's walk through what's happening across the globe right now real quick before getting into the reason why we're here. Not from a place of fear, but from clarity, curiosity, and responsibility. So there's been recent moves by Israel to register large areas of West Bank land that have been condemned by neighboring countries and international observers as a de facto annexation. And this is one of those global flashpoints where history, politics, and human lives collide. This is where we ask, what does land mean when identity, faith, and survival are tied to it? How do we talk about conflict without dehumanizing the people inside of it? Is the world becoming desensitized to long-term conflict zones? We shall see. European investigators now say Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny was killed using a toxin found in poisoned dart frogs. This isn't just a headline. It's a geopolitical earthquake. When political dissent becomes a death sentence, it tells you everything about the state of global democracy. So, what does justice look like when the truth itself becomes dangerous? The U.S. is gearing up for its semi-quincentennial 250 years. Celebrations, reflections, and political tension are all rising right now as 2026 is number 250. Anniversaries force you to look in the mirror. What has America become? What is it becoming? What does patriotism look like in a divided era, though? Team USA is pushing to break a medal drought as the Winter Games 2026 Winter Olympics take off in Italy. I want to personally congratulate the USA women's hockey team for making it to the championship game by shutting out all the countries they faced by a minimum of 5 goals. Wow. Thank you, ladies, and I wish you the best and bring home that gold. Sports always reveal the mood of a nation. So, are we rooting for unity, or we're just rooting for distraction? A former Ukrainian minister was detained while allegedly flying to flee the country during a major corruption probe. War exposed corruption, but it also forced nations to confront it. Accountability isn't optional when your country is fighting for its life. If anybody knows, it's them. Oh, we're also following the mysterious abduction of Nancy Guthrie with new video messages from her daughter calling for her safe return. Stories like this remind me that behind every headline is a family, a fear, and a hope. In other random news, Logan Paul's $16.5 million Pokemon card. Yeah, you heard me right. A Pokemon card sold for The Pokemon card sold for $16.5 million, complete with a diamond necklace, a whole bust down. We're living in a timeline where nostalgia is an investment strategy, and it's cool. Like our collectibles culture, or are they just capitalism with better lighting? That's the best way to put it. Hollywood groups are condemning ByteDance's new AI generator. Not gonna lie, I like it. I think it's cool. You got Gojo fighting Goku. You got Captain America fighting all types of people. Like, bruh, AI is no longer a tech conversation. It's definitely a cultural one. Like, who owns creativity now? Who gets replaced? But most importantly, who gets protected? The world is loud right now. But loud doesn't mean hopeless. Every headline I just named is a reminder that we're connected. We're connected. Politically, spiritually, and emotionally. So here's the real question that I want to leave with you as far as what's going on in the world. What kind of world are you building in your corner of the map? Because global change always starts locally. Now, to get into the nitty-gritty, let's slow the world down. Let's slow the world down and think about being present, letting the past be the past, and getting ready for the future. Wherever you are right now, driving, cleaning, working out, walking, or just sitting in your thoughts, I want you to take a moment and just arrive. Welcome back. Because today's episode is different. Today we're not rushing, we're not multitasking, we're not trying to outrun our own minds. I'm even taking my time with this episode. I feel like most of the time I just run through it, but I've learned to really sit, focus, and have a conversation with y'all. We're talking about something that every human being struggles with, no matter how old you are, how successful you are, how spiritual you are, or how strong you pretend to be. We're talking about being present, leaving the past alone, and preparing for the future. This is the kind of conversation that doesn't just fill time, like it fills us. So settle in, let's breathe, let's slow the world down, let's be here. The present is the only place life happens. So let's start with that. Not the idea of present, not the Instagram version of present, not the I'm fine version of present. I mean the real present, the one you're living as we speak, the one your body's experiencing even if your mind is somewhere else. So let me ask you something, and don't overthink it. When was the last time you were actually here? Not replaying something from last week, not worrying about something coming from next month, not trying to fix something that already happened, not trying to predict something that hasn't even happened yet. Just here, present. Aquí. Most people don't realize this, but the present is the only place where life actually happens. The past is memory, the future is imagination. But the present is definitely the only place where you can make a decision. The only place where you can change direction. The only place where you can choose a different story. And yet, the present is the place we avoid the most. So let's be honest. Being present is pretty uncomfortable because when you slow down, you finally hear the things you've been avoiding. You hear the thoughts you've been drowning out with noise. You feel the emotions you've been pushing down. You also notice the habits you've been hiding behind. Presence exposes you. Presence reveals you. Presence confronts you. And that's why so many people stay busy. Not productive, busy. Busy is a shield. Busy is a distraction. Busy is a socially acceptable way to avoid yourself. But here's the truth. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. And you can't feel anything if you're never present. That's why presence matters. Not because it's cute, not because it's trendy, not because it's spiritual. Presence matters because it's the doorway to every transformation you've been praying for. Let's talk about your body for a second. Let's say your body... No, let's not even say that. Your body is always in the present, right? Your mind is the one time-traveling consistency. Like, your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. Your body holds tension from conversations you never had. Your body holds fear from moments you've survived. Your body holds grief from things you never processed. But your breath is the bridge between chaos and clarity. And when you breathe deeply, your nervous system shifts. Your heart rate slows, your muscles release, your mind stops sprinting, your spirit settles. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to take one deep breath with me. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. You feel that? That's presence. That's what it feels like to come back home to yourself. Now, let's talk about the spiritual side of presence. Stillness is uncomfortable for a reason. Stillness is where truth lives. Stillness is where clarity shows up. Stillness is where conviction whispers. Stillness is where God speaks. But you can't hear God if you're louder than your life. Some of the answers you've been begging for, some of the direction you've been praying for, some of the healing you've been waiting for, it's already here. It's already available to you, and it's already within reach. But you're too distracted to receive it. Presence is not just a mental practice, it's a spiritual posture, and nobody talks about that. Let me tell you something else that's real. Every person listening to this has had at least one moment in their life where everything slowed down, a moment where you were forced into presence. Maybe it was heartbreak, loss, a mistake, a breakthrough, a moment where you realize, I can't keep living like this. Presence often shows up in the moments that break us open, because when life shakes you, it shakes loose everything you've been ignoring. And sometimes, presence is the only thing that saves you. Presence is also not a one-time event. It's a practice, a discipline, a lifestyle. Here are a few ways that I feel we can practice presence. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Notice your emotions without judging them. Notice your thoughts without believing all of them. Notice the moment you're in instead of the moment you're afraid of. Presence is not perfection. Presence is awareness. And awareness is the beginning of every transformation. Let me say this clearly. You can't heal what you refuse to feel, and you can't feel anything if you're never present. That's the truth. That's the work. That's the invitation. Point blank, period. Now that we've settled into the present, now that we've slowed down enough to actually hear ourselves, think, speak, feel, breathe, I want to take us somewhere that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. The past. Not because the past is evil, not because the past is something to be ashamed of, and if you don't understand its power, it will run your life without your permission, because the past is powerful. So let's walk into this gently. No judgment, no shame, just honesty. Here's the truth. The past is supposed to teach you, not trap you. And we all been through it. But a lot of us, maybe even you listening right now, have turned the past into a prison cell. You replay the same memories, you rehearse the same mistakes, you relive the same heartbreak, you re-experience the same betrayal. And the wild part is, you're not doing it because you want to, you're doing it because your mind hasn't learned how to let go. Let me say something that might sting a little. You don't have to rewrite your past. You just have to stop rehearsing it. The past is not a home, it's a classroom. You go there to learn, not to live. So let's talk about why the past has such a strong grip. People don't stay stuck in the past because they love the pain. Obviously not. People stay stuck because the past is familiar. And familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar healing. Think about that. Healing requires change. Healing requires vulnerability. It also requires stepping into a version of yourself you've never met before. But the past is predictable because it already happened. You know the story, you know the characters, and you know the outcome. So even if it hurts, it's familiar. And humans, us, cling to the familiarity. We cling to the familiar, even when it kills us. And that's the catalyst of why we think that way. Here's something most people never realize. You're not stuck because of what happened. You're stuck because of the meaning you attach to what happened. Two people can go through the same event and walk away with two different stories. One person says, I failed, so I'm a failure. Another person says, I failed, so I learned. Same event, different meaning, different life. So let me ask you, gently, but directly, what meaning did you attach to your past that you're still carrying like it's the truth? Because sometimes the past isn't holding you. You're holding it. And it already ended. It doesn't need your permission to be over. It doesn't need your approval. It doesn't need your closure. It's over. But you need to stop reopening chapters that God already closed. Some of you are trying to heal while still holding on to the identity you built in survival mode. You're trying to grow while still clinging to the version of you that got hurt. You're trying to move forward while dragging the weight of who you used to be. Like whenever you go through something, you say, oh, I came out of that on top because I went through these series of events, I did work on myself, and now I am the way I am. You can't walk into your future if you're still committed to your history. So let's get into the spiritual side of this, right? Letting go is not forgetting. Letting go is not pretending. Letting go is not minimizing. Letting go is surrendering. It's saying, I don't need to carry this anymore. I don't need to punish myself anymore. I don't need to relive this anymore. I don't need to be defined by this anymore. Letting go is trusting that God can do more with your future than you can by obsessing over your past. Letting go is faith in motion. And every person listening has had a moment, maybe small, maybe massive, where you realize, I can't go back. Maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a mindset, maybe it was a habit, maybe it was a version of yourself that you outgrew. There's always a moment where the past stops being a place to visit and becomes a place you can't return to. And that moment is painful, but it's also holy, because that's the moment you step into who you're becoming. So let's break this down in a way that makes sense. Letting go is not one action, it's a process. It involves these 5 things, and I'm gonna break them down to you. Reframing, which is changing the story you tell yourself. Releasing, letting the emotion move through you. Rewriting, choosing a new meaning. Rebuilding, creating new habits. And re-identifying, which is becoming someone new. Letting go is not forgetting the past, it's outgrowing it. So let me say this clearly. Leaving the past alone doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means refusing to let it keep happening. That's the work. That's the shift. That's the freedom. Before we move into the future, before we talk about preparation, purpose, and alignment, I want to give you a moment. A moment to release something, a moment to breathe something out, a moment to let something go. So, let's take a breath in. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. And as you exhale, imagine releasing one thing from your past that no longer belongs to you. Whether it's a belief, a memory, a fear, a version of yourself that you have to let go. Let it go. Just for this moment, just for this breath. Hopefully everybody breathed out at this point, but you deserve that. Thank you. So, we've been present. We've honored the moment we're in. We've walked through the past, gently, honestly, and courageously. Now it's time to turn to something that scares people more than anything else, and that is el futuro, the future. Not because the future is dangerous or it's dark, but because the future is unknown. And us as a human race fear the unknown. We fear that we can't predict, we can't control, and we can't guarantee, and that sucks. But here's the truth that I want you to hold on to, and it's that the future is not something to fear, it's something to prepare for. And preparation is not pressure, it's not perfection, and it's not anxiety. It's alignment. So, let me start with a metaphor that has carried me through some of the biggest transitions in my life. The future is a seed. A seed doesn't look like what it's going to become. A seed doesn't reveal its potential at first glance, and it doesn't grow the moment you plant it. It requires planting, darkness, time, water, protection, patience, and faith. You don't dig up a seed every day to check to see if it's growing. You trust the process, you trust the soil, you trust the season. And that's how the future works. You plant, you water, you wait, you trust. Your future is already planted. Your job is to water it. Preparation is healthy. Control is fear. And that's something that people confuse all the time, is preparation and control. Preparation says, I trust what's coming, so I'm going to get ready. Control says, I don't trust shit, so I'm trying to force it. Preparation is rooted in faith, and control is rooted in insecurity. Preparation is about alignment, control is about anxiety. Preparation is about stewardship, control is about panic. And here's the part that might hit you in the chest. Some of you think you're preparing for your future, but you're actually trying to control it. Like, dead ass. You're not planning, you're panicking. You're not organizing, you're overthinking. You're not preparing, you're predicting disaster. Let me free you of something. You don't need to know everything that's coming. You just need to be ready for what's meant for you. And that's something that I had to learn myself. Because you never know. And here's something people don't talk about enough. You cannot walk into your future with an outdated identity. You can't bring survival mode habits into a season of growth. You can't bring old insecurities into a season of opportunity. You can't bring old relationships in a season of elevation. You just can't bring old thinking into a season of expansion. Your future requires a new version of you, a version that's healed, that's aware, that's disciplined, that's aligned, that's ready. Your future can't start until your past stops running your life, and your future can't unfold until you become the person who can handle it. There's a moment, and you'll know it when it hits, where you realize, I'm ready. Not perfect, not fearless, not fully confident, just ready. Ready to grow, ready to change, ready to step into something bigger, ready to stop shrinking, ready to stop apologizing, ready to stop dimming your light, ready to stop living small. Readiness is not a feeling, readiness is a decision. And some of you listening right now, you're more ready than you think. So do it. Be like Nike and just do it. So let's break this down in a way that makes sense for your mind, not just for your spirit. Our brain is wired to create patterns, right? Our brain is wired to repeat what's familiar, right? Our brain is wired to protect us from the unknown, right? So here's the good news. Our brains can be rewired through visualization, repetition, habit formation, identity-based change, environmental shifts, and most importantly, emotional regulation. Your brain learns the future you're preparing for. When you visualize something consistently, your brain starts treating it like a memory, even though it hasn't happened. When you practice new habits, your brain builds new pathways. When you change your environment, your brain adapts to the new expectations. You don't just walk into the future, you train your mind to recognize it. Preparation is a form of faith. It's saying, I believe something is coming, so I'm getting ready now. Preparation is obedience, trust, surrender, and expectation. Sometimes God won't show you the whole map because you'd run from the assignment, for sure. Sometimes God won't reveal the whole plan because you try to control it. Sometimes God won't open the door until you become the person who can walk through it. Also, when you pray and ask for God for courage, does he give you courage or does he give you an opportunity to be courageous? Preparation is not about knowing the future. Preparation is about trusting the one, him, who holds it. So let me say this clearly. The future belongs to people who are willing to show up for themselves today, right here. Not mañana, not next year, not when you feel ready. Today. Today. So let's bring this whole journey together. What I call the three-way balance. The past is a classroom in which we learn from it. The present is a home in which we live in it. The future is a seed in which we prepare for it. Honor the past without living in it. Be present without rushing through it. And prepare for the future without fearing it. That's the balance we need. That's the maturity we need. That's the freedom we need. Now, before we close out, I want to leave you with this. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to become someone your past self wouldn't even recognize. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing, an apology for your growth, or permission to step into your future. You are becoming, you are unfolding, you are rising, you are preparing, and the world is going to meet a version of you that you haven't even met yet, and it's going to take over the world. Stay present, release the past, prepare for the future. Boom. Your next chapter is already waiting. And I really hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Truly, I got in my bag for this one. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, X, and TikTok. All my episodes are also going to be on my YouTube channel as soon as the episode drops. Merch coming soon. It's well overdue, guys, and I can't wait to drop the latest trend collection. It's going to be the season 1 connection of Trending Worldwide. I'm excited. It's going to be epic, and it's going to be a game changer for real. If y'all have any suggestions, questions, concerns, feel free to DM me on any one of my platforms. and I'll get to you at my earliest convenience, which would be immediately, most likely. Thank y'all for tuning in. I wish y'all a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And don't forget to check on your people, please. You never know how much impact that does till you actually do it. So with that being said, I'm Jai, leaving you with peace within your circumstances, peace within your family, and peace within yourself. Love.